Odell Beckham Jr. hasn't been a fantasy football star in several of years, but Hess still relevant enough that Hess in starting lineups most weeks. That's especially true in Week 7, when 6 teams are on bye. However, a shoulder injury threatens to knock him out of Thursday Night Football's Broncos-Browns showdown, which would create a little start-sit-em havoc at the beginning of an already high-stress week. Knowing the latest updates on whether Beckham is playing will be important as you consider who start. Not only will OBJ be affected by the game-time decision, but so will other Cleveland receivers, such as Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's why we'll continue to update this article with news on Beckham up until the official active/inactive report comes out on Thursday around 6:50 p.m. ET. For all the latest fantasy updates, follow us on Twitter at SNFantasy. More TNF, DK lineup, FD lineup. Bridgewater update: despite failing to practice all week, Beckham Jr., shoulder, is still listed as questionable for Thursday's game against the Broncos. Usually if a player has a week of DNPs, he doesn't play, but given the rushed nature of Thursday's game and OBJ's veteran status, we're not completely ruling him out yet. Week 7 standard rankings: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, D/ST. Kicker. However, his fantasy owners should have an alternative in mind. OBJ hasn't been particularly good this year, topping out at 79 yards in his 4 games and failing to score. The targets are steady, just under 7 per game, but at this point, Hess barely hanging on as a WR3. In a week with 6 buys, he has value, but obviously if Hess significantly limited, which it sounds like he will be if he suits up, Hess nothing more than a boom, or bust flex. His prospects are only dampened by having Case Keenum under center in windy/rainy conditions. Week 7 PPR rankings: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, D/ST. Kicker. On paper, the Broncos are a favorable matchup for WRs, so that's one bright spot for Beckham if he plays. Ultimately, we still like Donovan Peoples-Jones more, and Jarvis Landry would also have some PPR upside if Hess active. Obviously, if OBJ is out, you can bump those receivers up another few spots.